Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for a Castorbish News Blast. I'm Castorbish editor Christian Cawley. The following has been written by one of my news team members, Drew Boynton. Faster than a Sontaran raid on a potato farm, more powerful than a Dalek singing voice, and more unexpected than a Cyberman using a can opener. It's a Castorbish News Blast. In today's blast, the Time Lord gets crafty, Sylvester McCoy stuns in the USA, Joss Whedon puts down the Doctor, and Billie Piper sadly has a frightful day. Daily Mail Online has reported that Billie Piper was involved in a real-life road accident on Tuesday. They say she is understood to have been driving at under 5 miles per hour as she crossed Goods Way into the path of a teenage cyclist who was travelling downhill at significant speed. The event, unfortunately, shook Billie up. The boy sustained serious injuries, including a severe shoulder injury, and Miss Piper decided to pull out of the West End play Great Britain, in which she stars. The real Louisville Slugger. It was Louisville Fan Fest in Kentucky, USA last weekend, and we learned from a blog post by Jenna Forster on Louisville.com of some great photos, and there's even a commentary on the last day of the convention. Seventh Doctor and raconteur extraordinaire Sylvester McCoy was there to entertain the guests with his stories. He tends to do that quite often. Thank you. And it looks like he was up to his old tricks of running around the audience with a microphone. Let's just hope he wasn't supposed to have been on set in New Zealand. Joss Whedon. He's the man who created Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Marvel Avengers, and he's now 50 years old, which makes him around the same age as the Doctor, or Doctor Who anyway. And sadly, he doesn't have kind words for our favourite Time Lord. In his new memoir, Joss Whedon, the biography, the geek mastermind, has this to say. I watched one episode of classic Doctor Who and I was like, did they film that in my basement? Because it looked cheesy. And that was the end of his Who interest. However, he does mention that he also had no interest in Blake 7 or Red Dwarf, so maybe it's just a cultural thing. The terror of the Peg people. Did you know the sonic screwdriver doesn't work on wood? Of course you did. However, an artist on the Craftastic Etsy.com website is selling super cute versions of Doctor Who characters made like little wooden pegs. The artist calls themselves Makings from Mummyland. We don't think that's her real name. Then again, the Rani is an odd name. She colourfully paints the pegs to resemble characters from Doctor Who, from the 10th Doctor to Martha Jones to Cybermen. A full set of 20 is available for a jaw-dropping $165, but they're all hand-painted, so you get what you pay for. Kylie Minogue from Voyage of the Damned, as well as many hit records and Neighbours, the popular Australian soap opera, has received rave reviews for her performance at the closing of the Commonwealth Games. The tiny stick of entertainment Dynamite did a showy 7-song set to close out the games and more or less rescue the closing ceremony. Was the TARDIS made from paper? A set of Doctor Who colouring book pages, a cut-outable TARDIS, and even Riversong's diary are now available to print out on the crafty daily deals from a Nerd Mom webpage. Such a thing does exist. The projects look to be extremely well done and fun to make, and best of all, are totally free of charge, gratis. Who can say fairer than that? Kids of all ages will enjoy putting this new batch of projects together, and other previous Who paper-based projects are also available on the site. Now, where did I put my sonic scissors? The pen is mightier than the sofa. Doctor Who and Torchwood writer James Moran appeared at the LeakyCon last weekend, and the Leaky News webpage has details on how he approaches the creative process even. For example, the Fires of Pompeii scripter says he avoids getting stuck by making a playlist of music and using that as a sort of soundtrack for what he is writing, which is a really good idea and is something that I've tried myself, and it helps an awful lot. Moran has been busy. Recently wrote the movies Cockneys vs Zombies and Tower Block, which coincidentally starred midshipman frame actor Russell Tovey and Big Finish's Lucy Miller companion Sheridan Smith. Now, I'm recording this on the big day, the launch of the Doctor Who World Tour, and obviously there's a lot of stuff going on in Cardiff this morning and afternoon, and there's going to be more stuff in London this evening as the first episode of Doctor Who Series 8, Deep Breath, is premiered. So check back for more on that later. Until then, this has been the first Doctor Who vidcast news blast from Castorama.